Political director and moderator of Face the Nation, John Dickerson, joins us now. So you had a chance to talk with Hillary Clinton about this latest batch of emails to be released by the State Department, especially about this issue of the secure fax that she told a staffer to send in a non-secure way. How did she address that with you?
Well, she kept it very specific to that specific single fax. And there are two issues here to be interested in. One is what happened on the specific fax that we're talking about. And then also, was this a regular practice? On the specific fax, she says the State Department said it never went through in any unsecure way. Basically, the suggestion she made to her staffer that the heading be stripped and that it be sent in a non-classified way, that didn't take place. So she says that on that specific one. I tried to say, well, that may be so, but this seemed like a general practice, that she was so comfortable with giving instructions about how to change the classification here that surely it must have happened in other instances. And the reason this is important is because at the heart of the FBI case is whether classified information was sent in the non-secure way to her private server and or private email address. And then more to the point, she has said nothing was ever sent that was classified in that way. And this would seem to challenge that. When I asked her if that was the case and this was a more general practice, or if there was ever any instance in which classified material came through, she seemed to say that Jake Sullivan, her aide to whom these emails were being sent, was smart enough to know not to send anything through that was classified, whether the header was stripped off it or not.
John, you know, Bernie Sanders famously said, Americans are sick of hearing about your emails. In this case, do you think that's true? When you're looking at the race toward the primaries now, just 3 weeks or so away, do Americans care about what's in these State Department emails?
Well, it's hard to say. Democratic voters aren't obsessed with the emails, to be sure. Now, this is a new development, and it suggests some new contours to the story. And so it's the kind of thing they don't care about the emails until possibly there's something they should care about. But it's a high bar. And that's certainly the case within the Democratic race. Now, there is a larger issue here that both Sanders supporters and even advisors in a kind of off-the-record context will say, well, this is about whether Secretary Clinton is shooting straight with the American people. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to do with emails. In other words, somebody might say, I don't care about the emails, and still have concerns, as we've seen in the polls, about her honesty and trustworthiness. And that is something that hangs around Secretary Clinton. We don't know how much of a problem it will be within the Democratic context, but we do know in the general election that will be an issue. I should note here that the leader of the Republican race right now, Donald Trump, has even worse numbers on the question of honesty and trustworthiness. So that puts it in a little bit of context. But there is a way in which people do care about the kind of underlying issue, even if on the specific issue of emails, they may not really care.
John, let's talk a little bit about the caucuses and primaries to come. We're seeing Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton deadlocked in these two early states. What's behind the movement in both of them?
Well, in Iowa, Hillary Clinton has been up pretty consistently by a pretty good margin in the polls that have been taken so far. And that was the result of a couple of things. One, the fact that she knows Iowa has been a difficult state for her. She was up ahead of Barack Obama, and then he came and stole her lunch, turning out twice the normal amount of caucus attendees in 2008 than had turned out in 2004. So he kind of broke the machine in beating her in Iowa. And so she went into Iowa and said that's not going to happen again, and has organized the state very hard, both to win Iowa, but also to make a larger claim, which is that she can go in and do the work and hustle and find the votes in a purple state, purple in the general election context, which means either party can win it. And so it was a kind of show me state in addition to its important place in the process. Well, she's having a little more trouble there. Sanders is getting a lot of the progressives, has built a strong ground game. So it would suggest that things are going better for him there. In New Hampshire, he's been far ahead of Hillary Clinton, 13 points ahead in the most recent Fox poll. So the fact that actually she's a little closer in the Wall Street Journal Marist NBC poll suggests perhaps things are going a little better for her in New Hampshire. But forget about all of that. The bottom line is it's quite close in those first two contests.